baby! Pack the cage!
Pack the cage!
Pack the cage, baby! Pack the cage, baby!
Let's go. Hey, pack the cage. Let's go.
Cage,
Let's
baby.
get this thing rocking.
Yes, sir.
Pat that cage. Pat that cage.
Pack the cage!
Pack the cage, man. Y'all know the vibes, man. Make sure y'all come pack the cage, man. Let's go, man. Pack the cage, man. Pack 305, man. Pack the cage, man. Pack the cage. We need everybody out there. Everybody out there. Show support, and we love y'all for everything y'all do.
Hey, pack the cage. Let's go. Throwback night. Let's go.
Come here. Hey, pack the cage, pack the cage.
Oh, y'all know we packing the cage today, baby. Oh, game.
Pause up. Pack the cage, baby.
You already know what's happening, Panther family. Pack the cage Wednesday night. We're gonna see you turn up, baby. Let's go. Make sure y'all pack the cage, man. Pack the cage.
Pack the cage tomorrow, y'all boys.
Y'all come show some love. Pack the cage. Come on, let's ride.
Go.
Pack the cage, boys.
Pack the cage. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Man, tomorrow night, pack the cage. Let's do it.
Pack the cage and
Yeah, I think for some reason they just want us to pack the cage. I think it's a good idea.
I think you have to pack the cage tonight. I don't know, but anyways, welcome to the Paws Up preview. Unfortunately, no Jonathan Mayer today, but Jake Gibson, myself, Kevin Burrell, we are here previewing arguably the biggest game of the season for FIU, and we couldn't have. We said last week was big, but this is even bigger. You're going up against another conference USA newcomer in Jacksonville State. We'll preview that in a second, but we do have to go back once again and kind of talk about what the hell happened last week against the Sam Houston State Bearcats. FIU winning it in double overtime, 33-27. Jake, this was a wild game. This was, I think, and I'll say this, through the first 3.5 quarters, we had one emotion.
Yeah.
And then for 2 overtimes and a half, we had another emotion.
Yeah, but I'm happy everything worked out in the end, right? And granted, let's scoot back for a second because Sam Houston State 0-6 entering the game, the bottom of Conference USA. But we had talked about it. They're a way better team than their record would indicate to you, right? They could have easily had won the majority of their games. They were one possession. So FIU, yeah, it was a defensive battle early on. Of course, FIU's defense got a pick, made some stops on special teams as well, but the offense just couldn't get it into the end zone for a while until they did, and then Sam Houston State answered. Things got really interesting in the second half, right? When Sam Houston State took the lead late with the, I believe it was after the Jenkins fumble recovered by the Bearcats in Panther territory. And then we saw probably one of the best offensive drives from the Florida Panthers this season, Jenkins and the 2-minute drill, getting just into field goal range for Chase Gabriel to hit it, to sending it into overtime, which was crazy. We were so ready to start up this post-game show after the game and talk about how disappointed we are that FIU lost the way they did.
We always talk throughout the games. We always, write to each other. And I was telling Jake, this post-game show is going to be hot. Spicy. It was going to be spicy.
Hot. But as it would turn out, FIU saved their best football for the end. Granted, Sam Houston State scored on their first drive in overtime. That was a bit disappointing. But FIU's offense responded. Granted, it took a while, and it took a couple of those brotherly shoves, which, I mean, after that Sunday Night Football game, I don't really want to see that play.
I hate the brotherly shove.
But it worked for FIU, and then FIU on their first play of double overtime, they did the same thing Sam Houston did, score on the first play.
It took them a while, but they got it.
It took a while, and then the FIU defense, just terrorized Shoemaker. Shoemaker at the end of the game.
Yep.
A miraculous win, right? A win is hard in both college football and the NFL. That's what Mike McIntyre told us a while ago. Winning ain't easy, and you have to enjoy it when you can. But let's not beat around the bush here again, right? There were a lot of mistakes that this FIU team made that they sort of got away with because of the team they were playing in Sam Houston State. Jacksonville State is a completely different breed of football team in this.
And we'll talk about that soon, but I do want to go with some of the struggles FIU had to deal with.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just look up the box score real quick because there's so much to look at in terms of how much FIU struggled, because
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it. They struggled. I mean, through the first, and as I said, throughout the first 3 quarters and a half, this team did not look good at all, man. They did not look good. It was not good. It was really stressful to watch.
And what were some of the highlights that we had raged about in texting each other? The screen passes. Oh my dear God, the screen passes in the first half that went nowhere, that were either no game or a loss of yards. I think it only worked once the entire first half, that screen pass play. It was horrible, and it was something that the FIU offense relied on. And I don't think that's a play you can over rely on, because it's such an easy read for a defense when you do it that often, right? But definitely a big positive was both Keyshawn Owens and Shamari Lawrence both having great games, sort of leading the offense for the most part. Of course, getting the I believe Lawrence with the first touchdown of the night, and I think it was Owens for the second. I could be wrong there, but
it may be the other way around. But I mean, points.
Yeah.
So
and then and the chunk plays on defense. FIU secondary could not handle Elijah Sun, the swimmer. Right, the swimmer pretty much had his way with the secondary, and I think FIU at the end slowly started to shut him down. But still, they entered the halftime 10-10, when FIU could have been ahead maybe 20-10. Of course, if things went their way, if that fake field goal attempt by Chase Gabriel and the special teams early was actually successful, right? So a lot of what ifs, but at the end of the day, yeah.
And we're going to touch up on this a lot more. Sorry to cut you off there, Jake. And this is going to be the point that we're going to really start banging the drum on here, especially against this Jack State team. But it's worth noting that FIU gave up 201 rushing yards to Sam Houston. That includes 100. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm lying. They gave up 122 rushing yards. I was looking at punting yards, and that really doesn't matter. No offense to Montiel, but yeah. That's something worth noting there. They gave up 306 yards over the air, which is not good, especially for a team that really hadn't had much success over the air. Not what you wanted to see. But aside from that, just a game that really if it was this hard to play against a team like Sam Houston State, which again, the record does not speak for themselves. They actually get their first win as we're recording tonight. They're playing UTEP. I think they're a pretty good team. Yeah. So that's worth noting there. And aside from that, just got to hope that FIU could really step it up against Jack State. And before we move on to that, Jake, let's give the flowers where flowers are due here. Reggie Peterson, what a game did he have? 10 total tackles, 1 interception. He was so mad that he wasn't able to get the touchdown. He was asked, should you have just cut back? Like, if you would have cut back, the defender wouldn't have had the angle at the end. And he was like, you know what? I got to look back. But I think you're right. He had the one against North Texas. He almost got it back for a touchdown. He said that he needs to get one more before his college career is over. So we hope he gets it at some point this season. And you know, his play not only earned him Conference USA of the Week honors, but it earned him the top tackler in that game against Sam Houston, and it sets him up for a really good game against a Jack State team that, funny enough, he faced in 2020. He was there. He did not play much. He was a freshman on the special teams, and it's worth noting, Jake, you were there to watch that game, I believe so. 19-10 loss for FIU. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but at the time they were an FCS team. This is a really good Jack State team. Obviously, last time, if you want to kind of take us through what happened last time.
It was
I think you and Johnny were there.
Yeah, Johnny and I were both there. And the same thing that plagued FIU for that entire season, which of course plagued a lot of college football teams because it was during the COVID year. FIU had a lot of players out due to both the virus as well as an influx of injuries. And when you combine all of that, there were a lot of games that season where FIU legit did not have enough people on their roster. They did not have enough active and healthy people to play on their roster. So a lot of games had to be suspended and then ultimately canceled. And that was almost the case for that Jacksonville State game. But they just squeezed it out. A lot of their starters were out. And FIU just played uninspired football. Jacksonville State is a team that was known to knock off FBS schools. I think the year after, 2021, they knocked off Florida State in Tallahassee, right? So they've always been a very successful FCS program that has had a a few years now of excellence in FCS, and that's why they haven't skipped a beat joining FBS and Conference USA. These are schools that they have played quite a bit because of how they line up their opponents to be a good chunk of FBS schools. So when you see it on paper, yeah, it's crazy. And I think it was only one of 2 games that year in 2020 where an FCS team beat an FBS team. But Jacksonville State, they played great then. Their running game was fierce, kind of the same motto they have now. And FIU, combined with injuries and the virus and all that, it wasn't great.
Let's kind of set the scene here, Jake.
Yeah.
First of all, Jack State is coming off a week where not only, well, obviously we mentioned Reggie Peterson gets Conference USA Player of the Week, but 2 of their guys get Conference USA Player of the Week, quarterback Zion Webb and their kicker. So that's where we could start. Zion Webb. This is a guy who is a 6-year quarterback. You probably saw him the last time he was here at FIU, so he knows this team pretty well. What stands out about Zion Webb besides the fact that he's the 2nd leading rusher on this team?
Well, I mean, what else can I say except he's a dual threat quarterback, and FIU does not have a great history this season against dual threat quarterbacks, right? We saw that the most of Caden Salter and Liberty, but man, Zion Webb is something else. His passing ability is good. It's very good. I'd say, is he up there with Salter and even Jenkins? I'd say yes. He's a solid passer, but his ability to just cut back and avoid his ability to avoid pressure is absolutely special, right? And his ability to find open space to get these 5, 10, 15-yard games and the absolutely excessive amount of touchdowns that he's got by running the ball specifically. He is a very scary quarterback. And we compared Salter to what we saw to Lamar Jackson when he played with the University of Liberty and now with the Baltimore Ravens. Well, I get the same vibe with Webb and not to mention Logan Smothers as well. There have been some games where they've sort of taken one quarterback out, put the other quarterback in, mix and match the way some college offenses have done that.
And that's the thing too, Nick. The one thing Coach Mack emphasized a lot. It was yes, they run a 2-quarterback system, but these guys are almost exactly the same type of player. So nothing changed when it comes to game planning. And these are guys that are pretty freaking good. And just to read out the stats here really quickly, Zion Webb, he is obviously, as I mentioned, the 2nd leading rusher on the team. We'll talk about who's number 1 later, but 406 rushing yards. He nets 335, 5.4 average. He has 2 touchdowns on the ground. Then you have Logan Smothers, as we were mentioning, 305 yards. He is the third on the team in rushing, and he has 6 touchdowns on the season. So just 2 guys who really have the same type of game plan here. And, I mean, you kind of look at the passing stats. Smothers is the one who leads the team, and I believe yards. He does. Zion Webb, despite playing 7 games this season, Smothers 8. It's like it's 3-yard difference there, I believe.
Yeah. Funnily enough, you look all around the statistics on their offense. By the way, I checked the Conference USA website. Their overall offense is ranked dead last in the conference, which is very strange. To look at. It's because of their limited passing game and their preference to the run that their passing numbers start to dwindle.
The conference and scoring offense.
Yeah,
which is still good.
But everything else about this team, every other statistic you look at, they're 2nd place across the board. It's crazy to see how many first place stats Liberty has in this damn conference. But Jacksonville State is always the runner-up. And of course, we had talked about this a while ago, Kevin. It's stupid. The NCAA rule that says that a team like Jacksonville State that just made the jump from FCS to FBS can't compete in the conference championship. It can't go to a bowl game because this team deserves it so much more than a lot of the teams that are going to end up.
So they still have a chance. They still have a chance if there's.
They have a chance if there's an open spot, but I highly doubt that.
I highly doubt it too. Yeah. So let's talk quickly about just any other stats that stand out before forget it. Let's talk about their running back, Malik Jackson. He is one of the top running backs in Conference USA. You have the Liberty running back, which the name right now is blanking out for me. I think it's Corley, and then you have him. So this guy is a stud. There's no other way to say it. He's been one of the best players in Conference USA. He is a transfer player that joined the Gamecocks. This is a really freaking good player.
I believe 578 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns, which is
586 and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Malik Jackson's ability to turn 1st and 10s into 2nd and 4s, 2nd and 3s, basically manageable second downs to the point where if their passing game wants to go deep on 3rd down, they absolutely can. Or they want to go deep on 2nd down, they can, because it's going to be a 3rd and short. And that's something that they do very well. It's converting 3rd downs and converting 4th downs. They're a very good team at that. And that relies, again, with Malik Jackson. But again, right behind Malik, as far as rushing yards, it's Smothers and Webb, right? So their quarterbacks get after the running game as much as Jackson does. So it's that 3-headed monster, I think, of Smothers, Webb, and Jackson, all of whom are just amazing runners. And FIU's rush defense, though it has been great at times, it has also struggled against some of the top quality teams in the conference. And they're going to need to figure something out for this.
We definitely need to talk about this team. I mean, right now, funny enough, rushing touchdowns, Jacksonville State ranks 1st. And then you have FIU, which is 3rd. Kind of makes sense. FIU, most of their touchdowns come in,
like Jenkins rushing or like Lawrence and Owens. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. And then you have rushing offense. Jack State is number 2. FIU ranks, I believe, 6. So, yeah.
How poetic that they have one of the best rushing attacks and as well one of the best rushing defenses.
No, this is not a good matchup for FIU whatsoever.
No.
You look at, and not even just the offense itself, rushing defense. This is 2nd in CUSA. FIU ranks almost dead last, and then I'm going to keep going because it was a good stat, and I want to find it because of scoring defense.
Okay.
Liberty has the best scoring defense in all of Conference USA. So anything that goes by them, if they force any type of turnover, scoring defense right here first. They have 19 touchdowns off of scoring as scoring defense this season when the defense forces something. So any mistake Kiwan makes or this team makes, it could cost them a touchdown. It could cost them going down by a touchdown. So definitely something to look not forward to, obviously, but something to kind of notice there. And then touchdown scored. I think I mentioned this. They were like 4th or 5th. So this is a really good Jack State team, Jake. This is a team that their defense is no joke either. They have one of the leading players. They have some really good players. Coach Mack really mentioned a lot of guys, and this is not going to be an easy task for FIU. They're 6-2 for a reason and 4-1 within the conference. They're just coming off a win against the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, who are funny enough today as we're recording. They're going to face the Liberty Flames. That's going to be a movie. That's going to be a fun game.
It's going to be an awesome game. But, I mean, something else I wanted to point out, Jacksonville State has 11 interceptions this season on defense. That's, again, second only to the Liberty Flames. You're going to hear that a lot when you talk about this Jacksonville State team. They're good. They're in 2nd place in all of Conference USA behind the Liberty Flames. That just goes to show how good Liberty has been. But, yeah, man, it's hard to find a specific weakness of this team, Jacksonville State. A lot of their players are juniors and seniors or redshirts, so they have experience. They have a phenomenal offensive system that really no team has been able to counter except for Liberty, which is, I think, just goes to show how great Liberty has been. But beyond that, Jacksonville State has pretty much had their way with every team they've played up to this point. Who is the other team that Jacksonville State lost to aside from Liberty? I sort of blanking right now. I'm going to check. They beat Middle Tennessee. They beat Sam Houston. They beat Eastern Michigan. It must have been like a really good power.
They lost to Coastal Carolina and Liberty.
Okay, Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers. Okay, I can see that. They have a good program over there. But, yeah, man, Liberty has sort of had their way with pretty much every team they've played in the conference. And if you want to beat this Jacksonville State team, as you mentioned, you have to make pretty much 0 mistakes on offense, and that really means not turning the ball over, which I will say Jenkins did, aside from the fumble, of course. He did not throw an interception in that game. He was sacked a few times, but Kewan Jenkins, he was not intercepted at all in that game against Sam Houston, which is great. That's a great statistic. The silly interception was something we saw with UTEP and a couple games back. We didn't see that. Something else that I think they need that they're going to have to address was that connection between Jenkins and Chris Mitchell, which I think did not look that great against Sam Houston either.
They got the touchdown. Chris Mitchell.
They got the touchdown in double overtime, which was awesome. But prior to that, he had targeted Jenkins a few times for the deep ball, the 30, 40-yard passes, and they didn't come up that way for FIU. And granted, when the connection between Jenkins and Mitchell was hot, There's not that there's I don't think there's a defense in conference USA that can stop that, but we haven't seen that dominance that we saw against North Texas, for example, and Maine. And again, this is Jacksonville State could have their way with most of the AAC for that matter, right? There are a lot of conferences that Jack State could do great in, and we keep saying that there's no way that we're essentially saying there's no way we can see FIU winning this game, but that's why you play the game. If Jacksonville State gets sloppy, which they don't usually do, but they have done a couple of times, most notably against Liberty, FIU can take advantage. But that's going to be a monumental task.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we're not saying that they don't have a chance because obviously every team has a chance. I mean,
Of course.
but the matchups just don't play very well.
I think you texted me this earlier today, but I think you called me earlier today and talked to me about this. But if FIU does do this, if they do beat Jacksonville State, granted they have home field advantage, they've pretty much punched their ticket into a bowl game because they would be at 5 wins, still having to take on Arkansas, which we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. But if you guys have seen what's been going on at Arkansas, FIU realistically has more of a chance than we would have guessed at the beginning of the season. Then they take on Middle Tennessee, which has had an unexpected down.
Middle Tennessee is first, I believe.
In the conference?
No, first, like FIU faces them first.
Oh, no, I thought after the bye week, it's Arkansas, then Middle, then Western.
We're about to find out.
We're about to find out.
It's Middle. It's Middle.
Middle. Oh, okay. Well,
then Arkansas, then Western.
Okay. Well, alrighty then. Still, those are, I think, it's crazy to think that a Conference USA team can really dabble against an SEC school. But I don't think the situation could be any better for FIU right now with what's gone on with Arkansas. They fired their offensive coordinator. They did a lot of stuff. We'll save that for the preview then.
They're 2-6 overall, 0-5 within obviously the SEC, one of the hardest conferences to play in. But
right.
Aside from that, anything else we should touch up on? Obviously, throwback night, Sun Blazers. The field, probably my favorite design of the season. That's not Vice or Biscayne. That is by far the coolest design they put out. I like the glowing colors. Aside from that, nothing else really to touch up on, Jake.
It's really cool, by the way, because there must be an alternate universe somewhere out there where FIU never changed their name and kept the name Sun Blazers up until now.
We never put FIU.
And that's what the field would have looked like. That's what our football team would.
We got to make a change here. Hold up.
We do?
Yeah. Hold up, okay. because we didn't do this correctly.
You're gonna do it correctly.
There we go.
The Sun Blaze. I don't think there's a space between Sun and Blazers. I'm pretty sure it's just
we don't talk about that.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that. But no, I think the Sun Blazers is a very cool name. I mean, Golden Panthers was cool.
And I'll probably rock it out. I'll probably rock
Sun
it out.
Blazers, it's unique, right? You can name like 5 other college teams that have Panthers as their name. Sun Blazers?
Don't see that very often.
No, the closest thing is the University UAB. They call themselves the Blazers, but Sun Blazers, that's just cooler, right? And the colors are cool. You have the bright yellow and like the nice shade of blue they're going with, and the helmet, the decal just looks on a helmet. It's crazy because we've never seen this before, right? They didn't play football when they were the Sun Blazers, so it's crazy to see what a Sun Blazers football team would look like. But I mean,
I will say it would have been cooler. Obviously, they weren't going to do jerseys. That was obvious.
No,
they could have. How do I say this? They could have gone
all white with the Sun
all
Blazers.
White. Yeah, the jersey's cool. It's a cool combo, but all white. I know they did it. But I know they did it for the pink decals on the helmets
against New Mexico State.
Yeah, but whatever.
It is what it is. The last thing I'll say about Jacksonville State is that, is like we had mentioned before, they're a very good team that can take on a lot of these group of 5 opponents. It's not just Conference USA. But I think it would absolutely be FIU's best win of the season. That win against North Texas was great. It was full of theatrics. But aside from Liberty, FIU has not taken on a team that's as good as Jacksonville State, both non-conference and in the conference. This would be their marquee win. We thought we had dabbled on the idea that this was their last week was FIU's marquee win of the season because of how exciting it was. But again, we can't gloss over the fact that they almost lost to a winless team, right? Beating Jacksonville State would be something this FIU football team could be proud of for a while. And if they get it done, like you said, their chances of going to a bowl game go up exponentially. And as you had also brought up the idea on Twitter or X, the Bahamas Bowl could be moved here to FIU football stadium.
So
FIU,
essentially,
FIU playing in the Bahamas Bowl, FIU playing here in a bowl game would be amazing, Kevin.
yeah, the Bahamas Bowl. That obviously with what happened there, I think they were doing like renovations on their stadium.
Yeah, renovations to the stadium.
Yeah, so the closest place is Miami.
I mean,
It
just
seats
saying.
20,000. Hey, FIU football stadium seats 20,000. It's in Miami, and the only
It's a
thing,
nice location.
my
It's
only
next
doubts
to
are the
the
press
turnpike.
box. So we'll see. But aside from that, it's
But I mean,
good,
it's next
nice
to a turnpike. It's next to some big time Miami roads, and we might be biased, but I think it's in a pretty good college at FIU, right?
I would
And
go. I would go. I would cover.
not
it.
to mention, I think maybe you pointed it out, or was an article I read that pointed it out, but the fact that the Bahamas Bowl usually picks Conference USA teams, and they would be playing in a Conference USA stadium, there's a connection there as well. So I think that'd be really, really cool. Honestly,
I
It'd be
believe
cool.
this year, people from the maybe we'll see them tomorrow, but people from the Bahamas. Obviously, there's always a bowl representative that goes to these games as
Yeah.
like just to check it out, whatever. I believe the Bahamas Bowl is already there.
Just
I know
getting ideas.
I know the Cure Bowl. The Cure Bowl was there this year. A couple bowl
Yeah.
teams were there. I mean, maybe FIU is a good spot. It makes the most sense. I know Jamaica was mentioned.
I know Marlins Park or Lone Depot Park used to host a few bowl games for a couple of years ago, but I don't think they do it anymore, if I'm not mistaken. But if FIU doesn't work, you can move it there. I mean, because that is a ballpark. It's a baseball stadium, but it has hosted football games in the past. Of course, those couple of bowl games, and of course FIU's win over Miami a few years ago as well. So we're getting to the 4-year anniversary of that, by the way, Kevin. FIU knocking off Miami in
Gotta
then
get in
Marlins Park.
I really want to I need the rematch.
You need the rematch? That'd be cool, man. Especially with granted, Miami got a pretty nice win against Clemson this past weekend, but this is the Canes team that's been struggling, man. And I'll just leave it at that. They've been struggling. Yeah.
Anyways, let's do prediction. Let's do around FIU athletics.
Hell yeah. And this time, by the way, this was pre-recorded Tuesday. So Tuesday, way before the game started. So we don't know the scores of the games going on Tuesday. So we're going to find out with you all how we did. But first, let's get into the games last week on Tuesday. Last Tuesday, Liberty beat Middle Tennessee.
Whoa, around
18-35.
FIU athletics, man. Around FIU.
Oh, yeah.
athletics.
FIU athletics. All right.
Show
Let's
some
do that
love.
then. Help me out here, Kevin. Men's soccer, where are they ranked right now? I believe 14.
I don't even know.
But
Where do you find
men's soccer is 8-3-3. They are coming off an unfortunate L that you had to witness, Kevin, in Boca Raton against the Owls by a score of 2-1. What happened there, Kevin?
Just bad defense overall, man. I mean, FIU, the Owls, you got to give them credit. They played very well.
They are a rival, of course.
Like,
Usually men's soccer has a great track record against them, but just
bit.
didn't go FIU's way this time. But probably the biggest match of the season. It's senior night, right? It's senior night. It's the final home game of the season coming up on Friday, October 27th. Yeah.
What's happening here? There you go.
Okay. Hey, there we go. All right. So on Friday, October 27th at 7 p.m., the FIU Panthers will host the Charlotte 49ers on senior night. It's going to be their final home game and the second to last game of the season. After that, they'll take on Tulsa on the road in Oklahoma on Wednesday, November 21st at 8 o'clock to close out the regular season. And then the AAC Championship Tournament starts on Sunday, November 5th, and will travel and will last until Sunday, November 12th. So there's a lot going on here for FIU men's soccer as they close out their regular season. And so, of course, we wish them the best. Once again, they have an 8-3-3 record, and they'll be taking on Charlotte on October 27th. Moving on to women's soccer, they have an 8-4-4 record, also having a fantastic season, and they're just about done as well. Their final home game was on Sunday. It was a loss to Louisiana Tech by a score of 2-1. Their final match of the regular season is going to be on Friday, October 27th at 8 o'clock. They'll be on the road in Murfreesboro, taking on Middle Tennessee. And then they've already clinched a spot in the Conference USA Championship. That'll start on Wednesday, November 21st, and last until the 25th. Now on to volleyball. They have a 10-14 record, and their season is also starting to wind down a bit. They are coming off a win against Liberty, but they're going to be in action at the Ocean Lake Convocation Center this weekend, Friday, October 27th and October the 28th at 6 and 1 p.m. respectively against the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. So that was your look at the world of FIU athletics. So quickly, before we get into this week's Conference USA predictions, let's take one look back at last week. It was Middle Tennessee losing to Liberty 42-35, and then Jacksonville State beating Western 20-17. Of course, FIU beat Sam Houston 33-27 in double overtime, and New Mexico State dismantling UTEP 28-7. And what was it? It was the battle of some sort of interstate.
Battle of I-10.
The Battle of I-10, the 100th meeting between those two schools. That it's only like that they're very close to each other. Like the distance from FIU to FAU, if I'm not mistaken. That's how close they are. Yeah. 28-7 for the Aggies. So we were gracious and gave everybody two wins off the rip.
I needed those.
We needed those. So here's how we did. Again, let's go over the ones that we got wrong because that'll be faster. Johnny picked UTEP over New Mexico State, and you picked Sam Houston State over FIU.
I was close.
That means both you and Johnny got a 3-1 record. I went 4-0. Kevin Barral. How about that? Hey, how do you like them apples? So that's how we did last week. Now let's take a look at this week. Starting off with New Mexico State versus Louisiana Tech. Two very good offenses duking it out. That's going to be at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. Kevin, I'll let you go first. Who do you got?
Between New Mexico and La Tech?
Yeah.
That's a good game, actually.
It is a great game.
Give me the Aggies. Diego Pavia's been on a roll, man. That guy has been I can't believe I'm saying.
Lights out! Lights out!
Coach Mack answered it for you.
He jumped the gun there, but
yeah, I was gonna say lights out, but I don't want to use lights out on a non-FIU conversation.
Do we know who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Bulldogs this week? I
believe it's Bachmeier. So
Bachmeier. So it's going to be Pavia versus Bachmeier, two very good quarterbacks. But New Mexico State has been the hotter team. So I guess I'll also go with the Aggies. Johnny is also picking the Aggies, so it's going to be a sweep for New Mexico State against.
Wow, man, a season that was so hyped up for a team like the Bulldogs. You would have thought they would be one of the top, not the top teams, but better than Jack State. Everyone had them.
Yeah,
they were in middle of the pack, man.
Mm-hmm. Granted, a lot of people thought FIU wouldn't win more than a game, and here they are with a 4-4 record. So
yeah.
We
haven't spoken about that, Jake. We haven't spoken about that, and I'm sorry we're interrupting Conference USA, but this is the same exact position FIU found themselves in last season.
You're right.
4 games to go.
Mm-hmm.
Will something be different, or will FIU implode and lose 4 in a row like we saw last season?
That's something I don't even.
As a rhetorical question, and we move on.
Okay, well, that's an interesting tidbit, Kevin. But yeah,
not really. It's just funny.
Liberty on the road taking on Western Kentucky. That might be the game of the week. That is on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Damn.
That's
what?
That's a good game.
It's a good game. And I told this to Johnny last week. I am so tired of Liberty finding ways to win these games. They are so due for a loss that it hurts, right? Who's going to get it done? I think it's going to be Western Kentucky. Give me the Hilltoppers taking out the Flames.
Hilltoppers aren't convincing me just yet, so I will be taking the Flames. Hilltoppers have been in some close games, man. They've been in some very, very close games, and they've gone really not lucky, but They've gotten away with some wins.
They've been clutch. They've been clutch, but I feel like their luck.
This is going to be
clutch.
the USA game of the year, no matter what.
It certainly could be, man. Their luck has to run out soon. I'm taking Western. Johnny's taking Liberty, so we're kind of split here. You and Johnny got Liberty. I got Western. I'm probably going to regret that come next week, but it is what it is. All right, we'll save FIU for last. And lastly, it's the Battle of Texas in Conference USA. It is UTEP on the road taking on Sam Houston State. That is at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. So, boy, does Sam Houston State finally get their first win? You say yes.
Go with the Bearcats.
Go with the Bearcats. You know what? I'm going to say the Bearcats
There you
too.
go.
And Johnny's on the Bearcats. So it's a sweep for Sam Houston State. And that makes me happy. That makes me happy that we're all picking Sam Houston.
Hopefully
right?
they win.
Hopefully they win, yeah. Because I don't know. I'm just still not a big believer in UTEP. They look great against FIU, but that's been about it for them, right? And Sam Houston State, they've shown potential, right? But it's been potential.
NFL picks?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let me pull it up here. All right. And once again, I always bring this up. We can actually predict the Thursday night football game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is Tampa Bay at Buffalo.
Give me Tampa Bay.
I think there would be no better time to take Tampa Bay, right? The way Buffalo's been struggling recently, man.
Yeah. I'm taking Tampa.
I'm gonna take Buffalo. Something controversial is gonna happen in the last minutes that gives Buffalo the win, just like what happened against the Giants.
Just like what happened throughout the whole Dolphins game. Never mind. We'll move on. Dude, 0 penalties. I still can't believe it.
Saturday games. This could be an interesting one. It's the battle of the rookie quarterbacks. It's
Saturday
or Sunday, excuse me. Sunday games. The battle of the rookie QBs. It's Houston at Carolina.
Houston. They're actually playing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm taking Houston as well. Carolina is.
They need a year. They need
kind of doo-doo, but it is what it is, right? The LA Rams at Dallas. This could be a great one.
Rams.
Big man Stafford. I've got to say that receiver duo of Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, it's been amazing. The offense can look great for the Rams at times. I'll go with the Rams as well. You know what? I'm picking the Rams as well. I'm still not a believer in Dallas. I don't think I've ever have been. But, yeah. Minnesota at Green Bay. The Vikings just knocked off the 49ers last night.
Give me the Vikings.
Yeah, give me the Vikings. Green Bay did not look great against
Chicago.
Chicago, yeah, they let.
Yeah, wow, that was not good for them.
I already forgot Chicago's quarterback's name, but they let him just.
I believe are they 3-3?
Yes.
Wow. Chicago has 3 wins. That's impressive.
Give me Minnesota.
Yeah, me too.
And all right, moving on. New Orleans at Indianapolis.
Colts.
This is kind of turning into a battle of mid. I'm not gonna lie.
They got screwed over though. I think they're better than their record.
Sure. Yeah, and I feel for Richardson. He could have been great, but
could have. He's still gonna be great. I mean, he's back next year.
It is gonna be.
Hey, Gardner Minshew's balling out. He's my starting fantasy quarterback right now. So on my dynasty league, he dropped like 30 for me. So
I'll take the Saints. I'll take the Saints on that one.
Hey, will Chris Olave play?
I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know. New England at Miami. I'm taking the Dolphins. I mean, Dolphins looked bad against Philly, but the refs didn't help them. And New England had another masterclass game against Buffalo, but Miami's going to play mad. They're at home. It's going to be hot as hell.
Good for them. Good for them. Maybe the Bills.
They helped us out, so I'm kind of appreciative there, right? Beating Buffalo like that.
Yeah.
All right. It's the Battle of New York, Kevin. The Jets against the Giants.
Give me the Jets.
This is technically a home game for the Giants, by the way. But
give me the Jets.
Jets.
Jets. Jets.
Yeah, I'll go with the Jets too. Jacksonville at Pittsburgh.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville. Pittsburgh.
They beat LA though. They beat LA.
They beat LA, but I don't know. I just don't think Pickett is him. Right? I don't think there's really anybody on the Pittsburgh team that's him, except when it comes to their defense. But this Jacksonville State offense has looked great these past few games.
They're what? The Jacksonville Jaguars, bro. You said Jacksonville State. Wait, which again, their offense has looked good. They're both good offenses. But one of them is in Alabama. So
let's clarify that. This is not Jacksonville, Florida State University. This is Jacksonville, Alabama. We're looking at you. We're looking at you, Barstool FIU, that said that they were happy about the new interstate rivalry when it's not going to be that. Where were we? Oh yeah, Atlanta at Tennessee. Holy mid. I am going with Tannehill.
That's not mid. Atlanta. I'm taking the Falcons. I think they're better. I think they're pretty good.
I know I'm going
to mid, but the rest of the team looks good.
I'm going to regret this, but give me the Titans. I don't know why. I'm going to regret.
Titans are blowing it up, man. Derrick Henry may be gone by the end of the week.
Right. All right. Philadelphia at Washington.
Give me Philly.
Give me the Eagles.
I hate Philly.
This is the first. Yeah, I'm not.
I want Miami to meet them in the Super Bowl, man.
Their Kelly Greens did look pretty good though. Those Kelly Green uniforms, they
weren't going to lose in the Kelly Greens, man. I heard they signed one of the refs to officiate the game next week.
Oh, so you expect another
zero penalties for back-to-back games.
Zero freaking penalties.
All right, we move.
All right, this is the 4:00 games. Cleveland at Seattle.
Seattle. Deshaun Watson may not play.
He may not play, but you know what? PJ Walker ain't bad. I'm just going to tell you. And you know what? Seattle's favored against another high-quality team. Give me the Browns on the road. They'll get it done. Okay. Baltimore at Arizona. Easy Ravens.
Yeah. Give me Ravens.
Kansas City at Denver.
Move on.
Broncos country. Let's lose to Mahomes again.
Yeah, basically.
Cincinnati at
Although they pulled off the win against Green Bay, but
I don't care. I know. Cincinnati at San Francisco. You know what?
Give me the Bengals.
San Francisco's been getting exposed lately. Cincinnati's starting to warm things up. I'll take the Bengals too. So I picked all the 4:00 games the road teams are going to win, which is kind of crazy. But
yeah, we take
all right, Sunday night. If you thought the Dolphins-Eagles game was the pinnacle of Sunday Night Football, now you have Chicago and the LA Chargers.
Jesus Christ, man. That's Sunday night?
Yes. Once again, the battle of mid strikes.
Give me Chicago.
Wow.
I don't think, dude, I told you at the start of the year, the Chargers aren't that good. And I've been proven super correct.
Not to mention, they don't even play games at home, right? Because the majority of their stadium is filled with opposing team fans, and that's going to be the same for Chicago.
That's wild, bro.
It's wild, but it is what it is.
You saw the Rams game? Half of those people were Steeler fans.
It's crazy. And the Chargers aren't helping themselves because I think, most of LA at this point has.
Man, I don't know how they haven't fired Brandon Staley by now. I thought he was a goner after their playoff implosion.
I couldn't believe the Broncos didn't fire their defensive coordinator after they gave up 70 to Miami, but he still has a job.
Our boy Vance Joseph.
Yeah. I'm taking the Chargers. I'll take the Chargers. The Chargers.
Dude, John talked about the Bears last week. We need to start tracking these down. These are fun.
Yeah. And the Monday night game, Las Vegas at Detroit.
They both look really bad.
Baltimore did some exposing to Detroit, right?
Yeah, but so does Chicago.
They're at home. They need a bounce back game. I'm still a big believer in Goff and this Detroit team.
Give me the Tigers.
Eagles, Lions. Eagles, Lions in the NFC Championship.
Lions. Give me the Lions.
All righty then. The time has come. What is that?
Drum roll, but no.
Oh.
I tried.
Who wins? Jacksonville State or FIU? Let's start off with Johnny's pick, which he sent us already.
It's wild, guys. It's crazy.
He is going FIU 17, Jacksonville State 14, and he specifically said to book it. He said to
it's not him saying FIU is fine. The wild part is the score prediction. I was expecting, the Jonathan Mayer special.
Yeah, like 56 to
like the UTEP. All I have to say is UTEP, and that's it.
like 100-3, like something
Now,
crazy.
thankfully, he told us that after the UTEP game, he felt very humbled. So
Good. You know
he's
what?
kind
A taste of reality like that, it doesn't hurt, right? It doesn't hurt.
so. All right,
We all
Jake.
need it
I know what your
sometimes.
prediction is. I think everyone knows what our prediction is after previewing it. So
So,
we're both taking Jack State. What's your score? I think I know what your score was. I read your preview
on the pause up page.
on the positive page. Check it out. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Yeah, the running game all over offense and defense. I think Jacksonville State is just the better team at this very moment, right? It's hard to not pick them like this, but the biggest thing FIU would have to do is stop the running game, and I just don't think they're going to be able to do that. This Jacksonville State team is a little bit overwhelming. Both their rush defense and running game on their offense is amazing, really. And Jacksonville State has been playing some really good competition, and they've kept finding ways to win, whereas FIU against UTEP and Louisiana Tech earlier this season has found ways to lose. And while they did find a way to beat Sam Houston State, it was Sam Houston State, right? Jacksonville State is a much better school. I hate picking against I hate not picking FIU, okay? But I do genuinely think the Panthers are going to have a better shot against Arkansas than Jacksonville State, which is saying something. So give me Jacksonville State 28, FIU 14.
Yeah. I'm taking Jack State. Their whole run attack, their rush offense is so good. Malik Jackson, you have Zion Webb, you have Logan Smothers. These guys are just gonna bang the drum on the run game. I mean, they pass. Obviously, they pass. They have to. But FIU is one of the worst rush defenses in the Conference USA. Give me Jack State 28-7.
Ooh, it's even worse than my prediction.
I hope they win. I hope FIU wins because it means
don't get it
for
twisted,
me,
right? Don't
for
get it
me,
twisted.
It's better for us if FIU wins. It makes our jobs a lot easier, and on top of that,
and it makes it more fun, right? But
we get to see a bowl game possibly.
we get to see a bowl game. I wish
We're rooting for FIU.
I wish we were going to the Bahamas.
We can't go to Bahamas. Boca Raton Bowl. That's the next one. Their press box is amazing. I've heard.
I have heard that, but Kevin, do we have news for the Paws Up podcast? Jeff LaCorey was supposed to be on this week. This week he did not. Do we have any news on that end?
Next week Monday.
We're going to aim for that.
And we're working to get a football player. We won't say who because they're on their.
We won't say who,
but we're down to choices. So
yeah, they have the week off after this. If I'm not mistaken, right?
Wink. One of them was the Conference USA player this past week.
I think that's a really good hint. But you know what? We'll let you know. We'll let you know when we do. But Kevin, it's been fun. I wish Johnny was here so we could have said, "Oh, I'm going to take FIU 48, Jacksonville State." Like
he won 4 touchdowns. Jack McDonald gets his first. Of course, Dean Patterson. I'm feeling it again this week. He gets his first.
Does Donovan Manuel get his forced fumble that he needs?
I hope. Well, it's bound to happen. These guys run the ball so much. At one point, they're going to mess it up.
The odds of it being this game are probably going to be better than the rest of the season with this type of offense. But
Alrighty. Let's wrap it up here, Jake. As always, pleasure doing these. We are currently right now at this moment, maybe we're not doing it, but at some point we definitely were at the slushie machine having some slushies. Some free slushies on the top of that. So maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe we're having Jersey Mikes right now or standing up for the national anthem. Who knows? This is the fun part about it. What are we doing at this exact moment? I don't know why I'm saying that, but from Jake, from Johnny, myself, we'll see you guys all for the Jeff LaCorey podcast on Monday. Peace out. And as always, paws up and lights out.
Lights out!